Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Water Cooler. I am Sarah from Texas, and this is our place to chat all the latest celebrity news, reality TV, which is going to be Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and of course, today's Jeff Lewis Live. How are you? We are still having super windy weather, but it is sunny and beautiful, so I cannot complain, although it was a little bit chilly when I went on a walk with a friend this morning, but something about an hour-long walk with a friend seems like 5 minutes, right? Like, I love walking with a friend so much more than walking by myself. Shout out everybody over on YouTube. Thank you for hitting the thumbs up button. Everybody, please make sure to hit that. I really appreciate it. Lets other people know that we are here. I have really got to color my roots. They're so white. Like I look like I'm 70. Oh my goodness. It kind of blends in, but not really, because look at all the white. And then you see the speckled blonde. Anyways, greetings from Orlando, Michael Riley. How are you? Okay, don't forget, we are also over on TikTok. Shout out. Please make sure to hit the tap the screen to give it likes. And we're over on Instagram. If you want to get in the comments or come on, we are over on YouTube at Sarah from Texas podcast. And if you're watching there on YouTube, you can also see the live comments that went along with it. Yes, a walk with a friend is like therapy, Dana Maria says. I love catching up with her, chatting about our friends. The only thing that would be better is if she was a Jeff Lewis Live or Bravo Housewives fan, and she is absolutely not. Oh my gosh. Wait, what? Kelly Dodd. Katrina Sullivan says, I'm on Mounjaro and I've lost 14 pounds. That's so exciting. I am not losing weight. I will be updating you. I don't really want to weigh myself officially till it's month 2, which would be March 13th. Today is only March 5th, but I have been cheating and weighing myself and lost like a pound in a month. So not surely what's going on there. Anyways, we'll see how it goes. Okay. What woofer? I have no idea what y'all are talking about. Whooper. Anyways, okay. I don't know what y'all are talking about over there. Okay, let's chat about Cynthia Bailey and Monica Garcia from Salt Lake City. So just like Christina Hawk that was on, I don't know, a month or 2 ago promoting the flip off, that the season finale is on tonight with Jeff Lewis. So episode 6 on HGTV, then it airs tomorrow on Max. Watch that if you can. She was being very shy about who she was dating. And then I swear to you, she stepped out of the Jeff Lewis Live studio, and then all of a sudden TMZ and everybody was all over her ass announcing who her boyfriend was. So that outing, I'm not sure was as wanted. I think they were trying to keep things on the down low, even though they were like totally making out at a party filled with like celebrities and, Kelly Dodd, who is not going to keep a secret. Anyways, but Cynthia, even when she was on the other day with Jeff Lewis, she was still being secretive about who her boyfriend was, not saying his name, which is fine. I mean, she has a right to do that. But now it comes out, pictures of him, video of them at LAX airport, I guess, leaving to go somewhere. Says his name. We know he's a musician. He had a funky furry hat on, so maybe they're going somewhere cold. I do not know, but I'm just like, go ahead and give that information to Jeff Lewis. Like, if you maybe they got caught by TMZ at the LAX airport and figured, well, we're already caught, so it's going to come out. I don't know, but I just figure, I wish Jeff Lewis would get some of this little, tidbit of information, because the last couple things keep coming out. You know what I mean? Like after they go, you know what I mean? Dana Maria says, I weighed myself this morning, first time in forever, and I'm down over 10 pounds. I knew I'd lost a little, but I wasn't expecting that. I think I'm just one of those ones that are, and don't act like I'm working out all the time, because I'm not. I'm working out pretty much like normal. Y'all know, if y'all follow me for years, I've always done body pump. I mean, I've literally done body pump pretty much regularly the last 13 and a half years. Okay. And I've always done a good job of walking, always done a good job of cardio. So anyways, I don't think it's the weight training, but anyways, but I do think that I'm losing a little bit more. It's just not necessarily in the weight department. So I do think in a few weeks, maybe I'll try on the jeans that I've been struggling to wear since November, when they were definitely not comfortable anyways. And I was really pulling that shit up, and try those on and see how those are fitting. But in the meantime, I'm still in my Nike sweatpants. I've got them on right now because it is chilly here. So I'm proud of y'all for losing weight. It is so much better or rewarding when you see the scale move, because it's harder to see ourselves every day, like getting dressed or taking a shower and seeing the slow movement in our body. But a scale is easy to like type in and see like, oh, this number, it went down. So I'm hoping that starts happening for me, because tomorrow I take my 4th shot of tirzepatide, the lowest dosage. And then before that, I was on 4 weeks of the lowest dosage of Wegovy. And I know in 2.5 weeks, I lost 8 pounds, which is a lot because that's like 4 pounds a week. And then now I think I'm at like 10 pounds, but, it's just kind of stalled out for a little while. So I am hearing that can happen. So we'll see. Okay. I do think I'm still eating less. Okay. So Cynthia comes out with her boyfriend. Is he cute? Is he younger than her? I think both. Like, I don't know. He had this big hat on, lots of hair. I couldn't really exactly see his face. You know what I mean? That's true. That, Heather, now that is the reframe I needed, because trust me, all of 2024, I was just going up in weight. Okay. Thank you, girlfriend. Heather says, there's also something to be said for not putting on any more weight. Thank you. I really needed to see that today, because, I'm like thinking about losing weight. I didn't think about how I was gaining weight obsessively the last, 6 to 8 months for sure, or of December, or of 2024, I mean. Okay. And I don't really give a shit about her, but Monica Garcia from Real Housewives of Salt Lake City did announce that she is pregnant with her 5th kid. She did have a miscarriage last year. So pretty much last year she announced it. I think she was very early on, like she was very early on in the announcement last time, and then had to announce a miscarriage. So don't know how far along she is here. I don't really give a shit to read the report. Don't really give a shit about her. Think she's a fake. She's disgusting. I don't know. I really don't care if she could shrivel up and, go back to a regular job for all I give a shit about. You know what I mean? Oh, I love that. Kaki says, also, I've been on Zepbound for months. At my son's baptism, it was very obvious that I've lost over 50 pounds. Well, I would hope it's obvious if you lost 50 pounds. That's amazing for sure. I do think I'm probably in perimenopause, whatever that means. I just don't have any blood work to prove it from my doctor. Southern Belle says perimenopause is a booger. That's what I was talking about with a friend of mine today. I'm a few years older than her, but I definitely feel like my body is getting ready to go through menopause. You know what I mean? I don't know. Lauren Reed says the only thing that TMZ got that we didn't on Jeff Lewis Live was his photo, and Jeff Lewis would not have shared that photo anyways. Well, we know his name. We know his career. I don't know that Jeff, we knew nothing about him. She had not even shared his first name. We knew nothing about him, which is fine. I mean, it's her privilege. I hope that if she was ready to come out, that they came out, but they got started. They probably got seen, they recognized her at the airport and then realized, oh, it's a guy. It's probably a boyfriend. Okay, let's chat last night's Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Not a lot going on. And y'all know my love of Kathy Hilton. But last night, I do feel like she fumbled a little bit, almost literally, but definitely figuratively. I don't know. Okay. Last night was season 14, episode 14, called Hemlines and Headlines. It was started off with Erica Jane debuting her house and all the I would say remodeling, but it's not remodeling. She doesn't own this house. She is renting it. So she's able to put up, she's able to paint. She's able to change out her furniture. She's able to change, put wallpaper up, all these things to like give herself a fresh start and like starting over after the divorce or the breakup with Tom and all that. So she seems to be in a much better place with her mom. If you remember all these years, she's kind of had a not so great relationship with her mom. Maybe not as bad as Sutton and her mom, Reba, but not great. But the last couple of times she's visited, it does seem really good. By the way, her mother looks to be like 2 days older than Erica Jane. I mean, she looks amazing. I'm not sure if she had her young, but she looks very pretty. Anyway, so she debuts her house and with the decorator. And of course, I'm sure there was a collab there and some sort of lowered price, for showing him on, the last 7 or 8 episodes. Anyways, it does look very pretty. It's definitely not my taste, but it does look very Erica Jane and gives her a fresh start. So I'm excited for that. So it starts over on that. And then that we see the remnants of last episode where Kyle and everyone saw the video of Mauricio kissing the girl at the Greece airport and, her kind of like dealing with all of that. So we see Kyle and her sister, Kathy Hilton, going to get their mammograms because don't forget, their mom passed away from breast cancer and it was stage 4 by the time she caught it. So they always want to stay on top of their mammograms and tend to show their mammograms the last couple of years, which is great for reminding everybody, right? That's why I remind y'all whenever I go get mine every summer. Who's missing, though, is their other sister, Kim. And as we know offline, we know that Kim is probably dealing with some struggles lately because I think she's, living in a house that's Kyle's and she won't move out. Maybe she's going through some stuff. So it's really sad that she's not a part of the show, but a part of things like that, of like going to get their breast exams together because they all have the same, they all have the same mom. I do feel like somebody has a different dad. Is it Kathy that has a different dad? I feel like Kathy was a different dad and then Kim and Kyle are the same dad, but does anyone know that for sure? I'm not really sure. For sure. For sure. Yes, allegedly Kim's not doing well. I know, which is sad, right? So sad. Okay, so they see that, Kathy Hilton, who has a lot of experience, probably 30 years or so being the sister-in-law of Mauricio, she's kind of trying to make light of the whole thing, but I'm like, Kyle's like, no, this is pretty serious. I'm pretty upset about this. But Kyle goes and removes the word wife from her Instagram profile because she reminds us, and this is all months ago whenever they were actually in filming, but Mauricio had already removed husband and father from his thing. He only had stuff about his business, which I don't know. Like, what would make you go and remove that? Like, removing wife or removing husband, great. If you're separated, if you're moving on, if you're going through a divorce, what have you, I understand that. But why would you remove that you're a dad? Like, I don't know. I think that would be very hurtful. And, you are a dad, but everyone knows that y'all have a freaking TV show on Netflix about it. So that was kind of ballsy. But then, of course, right after we see her on the sidelines at a concert, supporting Morgan Wade. And there's been all sorts of confusion and confusion. We'll just say confusion about that relationship. So it's like, I don't know to feel bad for her. All these weeks she's been trying to like, oh, it's the pity party. My house is so lonely. He's the one off at this great condo and living the single life. And I'm here all alone. I'm like, first of all, you're not alone, honey. We see you with Morgan Wade a lot. We also know you still have a 16-year-old child in your home to raise. So you're not exactly alone. You know what I mean? Just kind of weird. Khaki says she's been going out. She's been going everywhere with Morgan, which let's face it, surely she is in a relationship with her, as Garcelle keeps pointing out. Yeah, Garcelle is like ready to point out the obvious, as we all are. I'm just like, just come out with it for sure. Okay, so again with that, Garcelle is the one reminding us of the truth. Like Kyle's been with Morgan Wade a lot, and just like, when is her truth going to come out about that? Okay, so Sutton is hosting a fashion show about her sustainable fashion line, which her really good friend Jennifer Tilly is like, I don't even understand what this means. I'm like, none of us do. I have no idea. It was hosted at the Godfrey, so don't remember how Jeff, that's his hotel now that he puts up his people in. He did say it has a nice rooftop bar, which we got to see last night. But I'm assuming this is all a tax write-off for her. You know what I mean? Like, even a friend of mine let me know recently, her accountant suggested that she and her husband get a small business for tax write-offs because they are taxed so much in their professional life. So I think this is maybe what a lot of people do, and definitely Sutton possibly, has this, she gets a shit ton of money from her ex-husband every month. She's already admitted that. And I think this business of Sutton Boutique, or now the Sutton Green, whatever it's called, the Green Label, the used clothes, the used sheets, whatever this is, all of this is a write-off because all the party, the marketing, everything that she's paying these people, the models, everything is a tax write-off for this business launch. But none of the clothes were cute. None of them are hers. Like, I don't even understand. Does anyone even understand what it is? Are these all clothes? Like, I get it that they're saving them. If you've watched documentaries, you will see all the fast fashion that mostly the US has, but definitely the world. Clothes are so cheap now. Nobody buys anything to wear it over and over again, especially celebrities or influencers or even regular. I have friends, normies. A lot of people are like, oh, I can't wear that dress again. I wore that to the rodeo and I posted it on Instagram. In other words, you've already worn it. You're not going to post it on social media again. So you can imagine celebrities and famous people are definitely not going to wear their clothes over and over again. If you wear something on Watch What Happens Live, you're also not going to wear it to an event the next week because the same, it's going to be shown. It's going to look like that's the only dress that you own, even though it's not true, right? Yes, me too. Shanda says, I'm tired of Kyle complaining about the empty house. So alone. She has a child living there. Plus, anyone else who has raised teenagers knows that they travel in packs and raid your refrigerator. Victim mentality. The whole thing to me has been victim mentality, especially in regards to Mauricio. Like, oh my God, he's living his life. And I'm like, girl, we have seen you living your life with Morgan Wade, like traveling all over the freaking world for sure. Southern Belle Cell says Kathy Hilton has said some really racial and homo derogatory comments in the past, yet her very expensive lawyer got them removed from the internet. I've not forgotten. I can't speak to that. I don't know about that, but it wouldn't shock me. Someone of her generation, that maybe things that she once said or the mentality she had for decades, and now she's just slowly graduating it. But I feel like the people that she surrounds herself with and everything, that she is probably very inclusive personally. Like, she may have said the wrong things, but I feel like her heart is probably in the right place. I don't know. I don't know her. I'm looking to get to know her. She follows me, but I'm looking to go to her Christmas party. I know. Wait, what? Lisa Rinna called what out? Kaki says, let's not forget that Lisa Rinna called this out too. What do you mean? About Kathy? I'm not sure. Anyways, okay, so they're at the event. Sutton is very upset, not upset. She's very anxious, very nervous. She's like, I've never done a fashion show before. Her mom's flight gets canceled. She doesn't have her mom there. She does have her 22-year-old daughter, Porter, there in the audience. She gets very emotional about hoping that she's making her daughter proud, hoping that she makes her mom proud. We know this is a big thing with her, is like trying to make the people around her proud, because I'm not sure that she has that. You know what I mean? Yes, we're going to talk about it. Mary White says, OMG, Kathy suggesting that Dorit narrate Sutton's show. Okay, so first of all, again, I love some Kathy Hilton. Love. Okay, love her to death. but she's sitting down and she tells us that she had this big fall. Like, she's like, I think I might have broken my knee. And so that's a big deal. Like, she must be in pain. There's probably blood. We don't know. We don't see any of that. She's sitting there, but then she gets and she says, oh, maybe Dorit should narrate the show. Like, maybe that would introduce, maybe it would make her feel better. And they're like, no, she's got this. Like, why, if she wanted that, she would do that. Like, why would she, whatever. All of a sudden she gets up from the front row of the fashion show. Now, granted, there's only like 30 people in the audience. It's not a huge fashion show exactly, but she gets up and walks in front of everyone, goes through the center area to the backstage where Sutton is standing ready to go out and start the fashion show, and suggests that, oh, maybe Dorit. I'm like, what was she thinking? I'm so confused. Let me say it again. I love Kathy Hilton. It looked like a fumbled attempt at comedy. Like, I think she has a part of her that is very actor-ish, where she likes to present herself in a way, and it's maybe a joke. So I think she wanted it to be seen as a joke, but nobody took it that way. But also, she literally interrupted the very start of the fashion show. Like, I'm sort of surprised that Sutton wasn't more upset about this. Even on Watch What Happens Live, I thought for sure somebody was going to be upset about it. Oh, wait. Michael Riley says, Kathy likes to bait people. I think I'm coming to terms that she's a lot smarter than she comes off. I think she and her daughter Paris have a lot in common with the whole public persona versus what is actually real. I think she comes off as like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. It's like everything is she's even got a DirecTV commercial or Instagram reel that's like, oh, don't hand me the remote. I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm like, I don't know. Do you? You know what I mean? Very weird. Yes. Jet says, Kathy is not that ditzy, but she just leans into that persona. But did you notice when she's walking back, not only does she stop to talk to somebody in the audience as the show is about to start, but she was limping on the way back. And yet when she has to sit down quickly, she sits down super quick. I rewound that scene a couple of times just to watch it again. I was like, Kathy, if you think you almost broke your knee a few minutes ago, and then you're limping on the way back from the middle of the fashion show to the front row, and then the way she turned around and sat down real fast, I was like, girl, I see you. I see you. Heather says, Kathy's whole family has said that she has been a practical joker her whole life. I believe she thought that would be very funny. Exactly. She talks a lot about being a practical joker. I definitely think she thought this would be a joke. But when it comes to a business thing, like a fashion show, and she was trying to get out the word about her, sustainable clothing line, I don't know. I just don't think it landed well, for sure. You know what I mean? Wait, what? OST says Dana Wilkie pulled up Rick and Kathy's wedding reception video, and he said the best thing about her is how smart and how much of a prankster she is. Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, so I think she's always been like that. No, I wish. I have never met Kathy Hilton because she is not at any of the Jeff Lewis events, and that's the only place I've really ever gone that she would have been. And when I was invited to the BravoCon pre-party of Jeff Lewis, Kathy Hilton wasn't there, which a couple of Bravo celebrities were there, but not Kathy Hilton. I would have loved it. Because as you know, she's a Jeff Lewis Live fan. She came on my Instagram Live and was like, I love Jeff Lewis. And I'm like, oh my God. Jet says, Sarah, have you met Kathy? What's she like with cameras off? I think she would be pretty much the same, but I'll tell you, at one of the BravoCons I was at, her line to take a picture with was so long, I didn't even stand in line for it because they only gave 30 minutes for that time slot. And this is 2022. BravoCon, and I knew by the time you waited in line that there's no way. I think so. I think Candy Spelling does it too, but not like Kathy Hilton. Khaki says Kathy Hilton and Candy Spelling both play dingbat characters. I don't really know much about Candy Spelling because she's a lot more private, it seems like. You know what I mean? Yes, that was so fun. Claire says, I love that she came on the live. I know. Can you imagine if she would have come on live? She said she would come on, but she gave me her PR guy's name and number, but he never responded to me. We'll see. Oh, yes. I thought that was weird, James. I talked about that in real time. I would be very hurt. James Gardner says something is wrong with Kathy Hilton knowing that Paris didn't even tell her mom about her children. That was very bizarre. Very bizarre. Because I do think they've grown up with secrets. I mean, they were raised in LA. They had a mom that had lots of issues. I think they know how to keep a secret. So I feel like Kathy Hilton, they've been famous for so long that I do feel like Kathy would have kept that a secret. But don't forget, the first baby they told nobody about. I watched that documentary. Their house employees didn't even know anything. They literally gave them time off so they could bring the baby home, which is interesting that they wanted all that privacy. And now Phoenix and in London are all over their social media. So I do think it's interesting that she has decided to put them all over her social media whenever she has issues with kind of being in the limelight at such a young age. So I don't know. I don't know. I just thought it was, I didn't love it. I didn't love it. I didn't love trying to take the limelight away from Sutton so obviously, and how I just don't think it landed well. So again, I do love Kathy Hilton. I just didn't love it for sure. Christina says, I think it's true. Paris still hurts from the youth camp. I don't know. Paris is in her early 40s. You know, she's a wife, mom of 2, businesswoman. I do think she's had enough therapy maybe to get over that. I really do believe that Kathy and Rick did the best that they could with the information they were given at the time. I mean, I don't know. I would like to not think that any parent thought they were making such a decision to put their teenager, who they felt was running away all the time and in danger in New York City, which she could have been for sure, especially as a celebrity, the parents of a celebrity. So I don't know. I can't judge because I think every mama and dad does whatever they need to do for their kids. Yeah, I thought it was odd. Southern Belle said, not telling your mom about your baby is a big red flag. Yeah, I did think it was. Heather says, I'm sure that I would hate it, but I'm dying for a baked potato full of caviar. I would try it. I think caviar is real salty for some reason, or that's what I have in my brain. So I think it would add to that, whatever. But if it popped and was like juicy in my mouth and fishy, who's had caviar like that? Like I've never had caviar. I have no idea no idea. Stoney says, it just bugs me how all these celebrities just suddenly appear with a baby they bought or grew somehow, same as Mindy Kaling. Well, I respect everyone having their own privacy about it. I do just think it's interesting to not tell your mom, tell your immediate family about it. Like that would hurt me if my children ever made that decision. Like I respect that they're all celebrities, but it's like Kathy Hilton's a celebrity too. They grew up in wealth. She married into the Hilton family. She's used to all that goes along with wealth and all of that and privacy. So it's not like Paris is the only famous one in the family. You know what I mean? I do, like I said, I do think it's very interesting that Paris is happy to put Phoenix and London all over their social media. So I know, what is the deal with that? What is the deal with his first child? Like that is so. Michael Riley says Paris's husband can't take care of his first child. He's a deadbeat. So I don't know what's going on. Financially, he seems to be fine. He seems to have a career. He seems to be super into Paris. I mean, he was a fan really before he started dating Paris. So he's definitely an admitted fan of Paris Hilton, like huge fan. But he was married and has this other child, and they never talk about the child at all. I don't think they have any relationship. I understand if you have a relationship and everything, but they just want that private, so they don't put any of that out there. But I don't think he has a relationship at all with the child, which is very sad because he seems so into his 2 kids, so into it, which I hope so. Um, yeah, absolutely. That's what mamas do. Heather says, my mom would have taken all of my secrets to her grave. God bless her. Yes. And I feel like I know it's come out that I think Rick has posted like his other grandkids, maybe from Nikki Hilton, when she didn't want him to. So maybe she thought, oh, he's already proved to me that he can't keep a secret. But telling your mom is different because your mom, at that point in the marriage, when they've been married 30, 40 years, she can be like, I'm not going to tell your dad because I know he's got a big fat mouth. So I'm going to know this, but I'm not going to tell your dad. You know what I mean? So Shanda says, some of my children are adopted. I told all my family it's to be celebrated and you need support while you wait. And if things fall through, was more emotional than pregnancy. Yeah, that's certainly relatable. And like I said, I just thought it was odd that she didn't. It's one thing if they didn't come out publicly and they wanted just to make sure everything went okay, especially with the surrogacy and everything, but to not tell your mom. And Kathy Hilton was admittedly very upset about that. She was admittedly hurt over that she didn't tell her. I think they did it with the second baby too, right? Didn't they do that with London also? They didn't tell anyone. Wait, what? Yeah. Well, theirs is a tiny bit different. Sherry says, what about Sheena's husband on Vanderpump Rules? He left his first 2 kids in the dust. So he left them to come to America to be rich and famous or whatever, and then didn't even have the money to pay for them. So now the kids have gotten older, and then now they've made the decision, I think, that they don't want to see him and they don't want a relationship. But also it's kind of, sorry, I get dry skin behind my ear and it just drives me nuts. It's disgusting. Anyways, I'm always picking at it. It's like one of those things. Anyways, but I think now they've gotten older, but it's hard to have a relationship from America to Australia, right? Wait, what? For real? Southern Belle Cell says Paris and her husband are both gay. That's an arranged wedding, allegedly not. I have no idea. She's had so many boyfriends, but that doesn't mean anything either. That would make me sad if in 2025 they didn't feel like they could be their ultimate selves, no matter what that is. You know what I mean? Yes, I think so. Jet says, does Paris think that her mom has a big mouth and can't keep the secret, or why did she hide the baby from her? Well, if you watch the documentary, which is actually really good, I thought it was a really good, well done documentary. The whole wedding thing, I watched the TV series that, was only one series, I guess, of Paris in Love, whatever it was called. And then there was a documentary. She just wanted, her husband and her just wanted this together. Like they didn't tell their staff. They told nobody. They didn't get a baby room ready. They didn't tell anybody. Like literally no one knew, supposedly. Okay. Speaking of Sheena, why was Sheena at Sutton's fashion show? It's like they just show her. I'm just like, what do they say? Sheena will come to the opening of an envelope. I think she will. Anyways, which I'm kind of bummed that Sheena never came back on Jeff Lewis Live. I felt like she would have been so good on Jeff Lewis Live. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to be, which one? James says, I'm not trying to be mean, but that kid looks weird. Well, not all babies are cute. I don't know which one you're talking about. Oh, it's called A Lavender Marriage. But it makes me sad that in 2025 anyone would have to do that, especially she is such Paris Hilton is so ingrained and in tuned, I think, with the gay community that it would make me sad that she felt like she couldn't be her authentic self and that her husband didn't think that. I mean, and they both have enough money. They could have children on their own. They obviously already had a surrogate 2 different times. So they know how they have the funding to have a baby, the unnatural, unphysical way. You know what I mean? Yes. So true, Jet. Paris is a paradox, one of the most private, public people where it seems like everything is exposed 24/7, but nobody actually knows her. And I don't really know if she hangs out with people. You know what I mean? Even it seems like when she shows her sister, when she shows her mom, seems like they don't really know each other or like hang out. I don't know. Her and her husband, Carter, seem to have a really good marriage, but what do we know? We only see what's put out there, right? So interesting. I just thought it was, didn't love it, didn't love the scene, didn't love if it was supposed to be a joke, if it was supposed to be a spoof, I don't know. Anyways, okay, on Watch What Happens Live with Sutton Strack and Denise Richards. Since Beverly Hills bled into the Denise Richards and Her Wild Things TV show, I did sit and watch a little bit of it. I do think I'm going to watch it. I did watch her on, I didn't think I was going to watch it because I was like, I've already seen it, whatever. But when I saw that she rents 3 condos right next to each other, yet she has a house, and her mother-in-law, her in-laws, and her brother-in-law like took over the house. So now they live in 3 different condos. They rent. They're spending money to rent. I'm like, rent? Like, what are we doing here? I thought it was really good. Did you watch it? Did you watch were there 2 episodes? Thank you, Lisa. She's like number 55 on the like. There's over 200 people on YouTube alone. If you would please hit the thumbs up button, I would really, really appreciate it. It really helps to get the algorithm up there. It shows it to more people when they see that there's a show that people are interested in. So the way you can show interest is commenting live, commenting after the video goes up, and hitting the thumbs up button. Of course, if you have friends or family to share it with, that would be amazing. But not all of us are lucky enough to have Bravo and Jeff Lewis Live fans, right? If we did, we wouldn't need each other, right? Every single day. It's the first episode is under Bravo on YouTube. Okay, so it is on Bravo though, and I'm assuming the next day it's going to be on Bravo TV, if that is. So there are 2 episodes up of Denise Richards and Her Wild Things. So yes, Shanda says her daughters are extreme opposites, and I understand. I've got 4 daughters. 2 of them are very similar, and the other 2 are somewhat similar. So I get that you can have 2 very different children. And they were behind the bar at Watch What Happens Live. So you can see physically, one has brown hair, one has blonde hair, one seems a little more outgoing and has an OnlyFans. The other one seems a little bit more shy, and she's very into Jesus and being a hostess at a restaurant. Very interesting. But don't forget, they grew up in, I guess Malibu, wherever they grew up. But as, they grew up with Denise Richards as their mom. So the fame of that, and then all the drama of their dad being Charlie Sheen. I mean, it's a lot. The fact that they're still with us and doing okay, I hope, says a lot. You know what I mean? Wait, who was on where? Cecily says Camille Grammer was on there, and also Tori Spelling. Wait, on the show? I'm only like 10, 15 minutes in. I'm where they get the dogs, and the trainer is telling them, don't let the dogs go all over. Make sure to limit their space. Don't give them everything. And then the dogs are all over the place. I'm like, oh yeah. Yes, both of those. So she has 3 daughters. 2 are like a year and a half apart. They're very close in age, that she had with Charlie Sheen. She was only married to Charlie Sheen for about 4 years, but the custody and all that drama took years longer. But they weren't really married all that time either. Like, she had left when she was pregnant with the second baby. The other child that's now like 13, Eloise, she adopted on her own. But I think soon after, or sometime within after, she started dating her now husband, Aaron. So I think he is the dad figure to Eloise, because she adopted her as a single woman, right? So, Tori's on the 2nd episode. Okay. Why did they have 2 episodes tonight? You know what I mean? You can't have meat at a barbecue in Malibu? Wait, what? Yes, Eloise is not his kid. Yeah, we haven't seen Charlie Sheen in forever. You're right, Jet. That's kind of weird. Wait, I can't wait to see Tori Spelling on there. So she's friends with Tori Spelling? That's interesting. Yes, Aaron is hot. And he's sort of into this health and fitness thing. Remember, he was talking all about it when they were on Jeff Lewis Live. I think she's a really good fit on Jeff Lewis Live. Also, I wish she would come back more too, and to promote this show. Obviously, what show is Tori on? She's on this Denise Richards and Her Wild Things TV show, apparently as like a pop-up or something. Anyways, okay, so Sammy is 20 years old. She has an OnlyFans that apparently makes a lot of money. I did see a part where she gets told that Denise started an OnlyFans, and she's like, why do you have to do that, Mom? Like, it's kind of weird. Like, my friends are making fun of me. The one thing, I like a lot of things about Denise Richards. I did watch her reality show from years ago where the little girls were younger. Her dad was on the show a lot. I think they all lived together, to be honest with you, after the mom had passed away. I like that she's very honest. She even says on there something about, you think it gets easier as the kids get older, but it actually gets harder. And I can tell you, my four kids, my 5 kids are age 15 and up. There's some things that are harder about having 5 little kids, but there's a lot of things that are harder when they get older. For one thing, when they're younger, my kids went to bed at 7 or 7:30. So by 7:30, I was done being a mom. I could like focus on whatever, hang out with my husband, all that kind of stuff. Now you're not done being a mom, at 7:30 at night. So there's a lot of things that are different whenever they get older. Sammy is 20 though. Lola is 19. She's a hostess at a restaurant. Very different. So, they don't sugarcoat it. They get along, they don't get along, they show it. They're used to being on TV. But that's one thing Denise says is, at one point, Sammy is talking to her. She's like, gosh, my friends make fun of me. They tease me, She's like, well, yeah, your mom is Denise Richards and your dad is Charlie Sheen. She goes, that's why we have a TV show. And I'm like, yes, exactly. Oh, okay. I know. Sherry says most mountainous regions in California have a no barbecue rule for obvious reason. Too many fires. Oh, okay. So why does California have so many fires versus, and how did South Carolina have all these fires? We get fires too in the hill country of Texas. Like we have wildfires too, but they never hit other. I never hear of like Iowa getting fires. Like, what? Do they just not have the trees? I don't really know. The brush? I have no idea. Wait, what? Michael Riley says, my son hung out with Charlie Sheen when he was in LA because his friend works for Charlie. It made me incredibly nervous. How is Charlie now? Like, I wonder if he's sober now, if he's settled down with a girl, how his career is going. Like, is he out of money? Is he still involved with Sam? So I think at one point, remember, Sammy chose to live with Charlie Sheen and Lola was living with it. So now Sammy lives on her own. I think she's doing really well with OnlyFans. I think she's showing a little more than just her feet, though, for sure. But why are they only in California? Southern Belle says the fires are intentional, unfortunately. I think sadly that happens, or accidental sometimes. Sherry says it's all the dry grass, not enough rain, not enough forest management. Okay, that makes me sad. She did say, I did hear her get, Denise was interviewed on Andy Cohen Live yesterday, and she did say that she does consider moving out of LA because she's been through so many horrific fires. And she's like, she said this last one was the worst by far. They had to evacuate for 2 weeks. Their house was fine, but she's like, yeah, I do consider moving out of LA for sure. I wonder how much money that is. Like, is there ever enough money? Clearly we heard Cynthia talk on Jeff Lewis Live. She never thinks she has enough money. I'm like, girl, how much is in your bank account? And you never think you have enough money? Jet says, oh, Charlie has that 2.5 Men money, residuals and perpetuity. I loved 2.5 Men, but I didn't really watch it. She's not a smoker. That's so funny. Andy Cohen asked her that yesterday. I listened to it on the way home from an errand. Southern Belle says, does Denise Richards smoke cigarettes? Her voice is super deep. She does not. And she's only smoked like 1 cigarette her whole life. Like she's not into smoking at all. Matter of fact, she said she tried to smoke on her honeymoon with Charlie Sheen. And he almost had to take her to the emergency room because she was freaking out. Anyways. Okay. She does not smoke. I think she would have admitted it. Although we did hear today that, what's her face is trying to quit or says she's quit smoking for the last time. The what's her name? John Legend's wife. The big I just saw news that she's quit smoking for the last time. I'm like, well, I hope so. Anyways. And Crystal, not Cynthia, Crystal. Thank you, Jen Helen. Oh, she smokes weed? Oh, well, why wouldn't she say she smokes that? I don't know. I don't know if she does gummies. I think she's actually Chrissy Teigen. Yes, that's what I'm thinking of. I don't know. She seems pretty healthy to me. I have no idea. I don't know. Okay, let's chat today's Jeff Lewis Live. Dipshit goons. Who's a dipshit goon? Who likes the term that Gage Edwards has given us? I don't mind it at all. I mean, if it was easy to put on merch, I could totally see Jeff selling dipshit goons. Dipshit with I don't know, maybe it should have even a picture instead of the I for shit. It should have a picture of Gage there. I don't know. What do y'all think about that? Okay, today was LaKendra Tukes and Doug Buden. I thought they were great together. LaKendra is still on the like, woe is me, I need a man. You know, that's going to get old. I kind of hope she talks about something else because that's going to get a little bit old. I feel like that's what she's talked about the 2 or 3 times that she's been on. True. Sherry says, we'd never thought that chump would become a classy word. Exactly. So they were talking about, apparently Jeff has like eczema on his butt. So he bought some CeraVe. He kept saying CeraVe, CeraVe, CeraVe. Like he didn't even know how to pronounce it. And a chump calls in, is like, oh my God, I work for that company. It's CeraVe and it's so good. I'm like, who doesn't know about CeraVe lotion? Like, of course I buy the CVS and the Walmart brand of it, but it's definitely CeraVe lotion. It's everywhere. Like that's a really good face cleaner thing, right? Face cleaner brand, but it's definitely a lotion. Yes, so he read it. So Samantha says, I missed that. Gage said that about the chumps. Yes. Jeff read us the big, long text exchange between him and Gage. We will chat about it in just a minute. Okay, so Shane, all of a sudden, so I didn't realize that Crystal Minkoff was on the second hour. And all of a sudden, at the beginning, Shane starts talking about the coconut water. And oh my gosh, it's actually so good. It's so good for a hangover. It tastes really good. It's so refreshing. And I'm like, they were dogging the coconut water that Crystal Minkoff sells just weeks ago, completely dogging it. So I thought that was very interesting. Then I realized, oh, she's on the second hour. And she probably last time was like, look, don't fuck with my products. Like that's my business. So when you say it doesn't taste good, and all she could come back with was, well, it's in a recovered, it's an acquired taste. I think that was her way of being like, yeah, some people do like it, but I think she definitely let them know, look, don't come at my business or I have no interest coming on here. You know what I mean? Yes, Jet says, wouldn't we love to know how many times Gage is approached by chumps in the wild? Do you think anyone goes up to him though? I don't feel like people would have the balls to go up to him. Obviously, I think if they like Jeff, I think if they like Gage and they don't like Jeff and they recognize Gage, I think people would come up to him and be like, oh my God, I hate Jeff Lewis. I hate that he says it. But I don't think if people hate him, I don't think they would actually have the balls to go up to him. I don't know. Be curious to know. Gage has had me blocked for almost immediately as soon as I had a fan account. So I think he must have some alerts set up that anything Jeff Lewis in the name comes up. He's had me blocked for forever. I haven't checked in a long time. Oh, did y'all hear? So, by the way, is Krista on today? Because what was going on yesterday? All of a sudden, I see a comment of Michael Riley saying, read Krista's message post. And I'm like, okay, so I try to find it, don't see it. I'm like, okay, just repost it. Basically, Krista was saying that there's a ChumpCon, there's a former ChumpCon happening the same weekend, the same weekend in location in like Brandy and Julie going to be there, Heather McDonald, Stu, who else were y'all saying? Megan. And I was like, oh, that's probably a joke. We've seen people make these AI type, graphics and put them around. And from what I thought, y'all tell me what you thought if you were on yesterday. Krista was like, no, absolutely, this is real. It's not fake. Brandy and Julie have posted it. And I was like, oh, well, wow. Like, I'm shocked. I was literally like, wow, that's taking it a little too far, like a little too dragging on, like making a whole event. I was like, well, maybe they'll get people to come to them. Like, that's very interesting. I read the comments as if Krista was absolutely, it's hard to read a comment and know how it's coming across in real life without talking to someone. I read it as if she was saying, yes, it's absolutely real. Brady and Julia posted it. So when I get off, I was like, okay, when I have time, I'll read my DMs and somebody's probably sent it to me and I just haven't gotten it yet. So the first thing I do without even thinking, forgetting that she's had me blocked for like a year, over a year, I go to Heather McDonald's thing and I see her Instagram. And I'm like, wait a minute, she unblocked me. Like, what? But then I scroll and I don't see anything in her Instagram stories. I don't see anything in a post. And I'm like, okay, well, Heather didn't post it. So that's weird. So then I look at Brandy, which is like Mr. Julie Goldman. I'm sorry, Julie's Mr. Julie Goldman. And there's nothing. And then I go to Brandy Howard, the Brandy Howard Instagram, and there's nothing. So I have no idea. Somebody did send me a picture of it from a Facebook group, but you can clearly tell it's fake. Like, all it is a 2-second Canva switch up, adding some pictures to the ChumpCon graphic. Like, there's no date, there's no link to tickets, there's no information about it. Like, I think it was all fake, right? Thank you, Heather. She's like, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. Appreciate it. Southern Belle says, wouldn't you talk to Gage? Oh, I would definitely have a conversation with Gage. If y'all been around a long time, I really don't have a lot of negative stuff to say about Gage. I really don't. I don't even think, I think his truth is in the email or the text message that he sends to Jeff. I think whatever goes on between them, whatever things we don't know about, when he says that Jeff is super worried about fame and whatever and not into being a dad, that's his opinion about whatever he thinks about Jeff Lewis. So, he's come to that conclusion for some reason. Clearly, I even said yesterday, clearly Jeff was giddy about the idea of Gage being upset about this private school banner that got put up with Monroe's face on it. Now, to me, that's legit because I do feel like there are people that will make a negative effort or do something when they find out that they know his daughter goes there. I think it was a huge mess up from the school. So we do know now, but Jeff's like, I think it's funny. He thinks it's so funny. So what Gage didn't like is that he went on the radio and said all this stuff about it, pretty much making fun of it and laughing that Gage was going to be upset about it and not telling Gage, hey, here's the picture. This happened with the school. We need to contact them and get it taken down. So apparently it got taken down this morning. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I've never had an issue with Gage. I don't even have an issue with Gage and Scott dating. My thoughts on that are if you dated the same guy, you probably have a lot in common. So the fact that they ended up dating, it doesn't shock me, especially that, Scott was going through bringing a child into the world as a single dad. So he was looking to Gage for some information. And then I think a love affair started up. And now it's been a couple of years. Rachel says, in defense of the coconut water, Jeff and Shane served it in studio, warm room temperature, poured over ice. Coconut water needs to come out of the fridge cold. Otherwise, it's off-putting in taste. So how is it different if it's cold over ice? Wouldn't that be the same effect? I mean, I don't know. I don't remember all the details about it being temperature over ice versus coming out of the cold. I don't really know. Also, Jeff and Shane didn't say it was delicious. They said it got drank up in a couple of days by my staff. They weren't saying they were gobbling it up. I mean, Shane was saying, oh, it's refreshing. It's great for a hangover, but he wasn't necessarily saying he drinks it up. You know what I mean? Jet says, Heather McDonald is okay for me, but every time she posts group pictures with all of Jeff's ousted ex-friends, it just looks so desperate and boring. Like, get a new narrative. Yeah. And I mean, she just, or Julie or Brandy or both, or Heather, somebody just posted a picture from March because it was a show that Heather McDonald had done that sold out, that they were talking about and then they were at dinner. And then if you listen to the music that was in the background, because several of y'all sent it to me, thank you. And it had petty ass bitch in the background, which is just, and then it said something like, in a few months, 20 more people will be at our table or something like that. You know what I mean? He put that one up. Lisa Lewis says, I just looked and the Susan Powder episode is available on Jeff Lewis Has Issues podcast. I'm dying to listen to it after this. Does he do the whole 1 hour or are they only 30 minutes? I wonder what 30 minutes he picks. You know what I mean? Because I now know there's some option on Jeff Lewis Has Issues, which I've never had to pay attention to because I pay for SiriusXM. But there's some some episode where you can pay extra money. So I don't know. He's not wrong either, though, right? I mean, Bravo and Stone says Jason Hoppy said the same thing about Bethany. She's fame hungry. I mean, he's not wrong. She admits she's a fame whore. Jeff Lewis admits he's a fame whore. Chanel Ayan yesterday admits she's a fame whore. I mean, Jennifer Tilly last night on Beverly Hills admits she's a fame whore. I love people looking at me. Just knowing that, you know what I mean? So, Nick James says, coconut water is always nasty. I only use it in smoothies because it's hydrating and you can't taste it. Yeah, I've drank one sip of it years ago. Thought it was so weird. Like thick. I just thought it was so weird. Not for me at all. Not for me. And definitely an acquired taste. Okay, so on the first hour, they do talk about L'Oreal. I do want to watch this show, The Butler, the Billionaire, and the Boyfriend. It's like a documentary about the richest lady in the world who owns L'Oreal. Is she still alive? Like why don't I ever hear of her? You know what I mean? Anyways, so a caller calls in and talks about the videos and basically saying had to reach out to Doug because I didn't know the videos. It's been weeks. It's been probably 6 or 7 weeks in all fairness, like the end of January, maybe, that no videos have been around. So it's like, where's this chump? Anyways, but Jeff calls the listeners hens. He's like, stop complaining to me. What you have to do is reach out to SiriusXM customer care. Like, I can't do anything about it. I have nothing to do with that. If you give a shit about the videos coming about, don't reach out to me. Don't reach out to Doug. Don't reach out to Jameson. Reach out to SiriusXM customer care. But I don't think that fans are going to like that he called them hens. Basically, like peck, like, complaining. Thought that was very interesting. How did they come up about the hand jobs? I guess LaKendra is single, so somehow they talked about hand jobs, and I'm like, oh, why are we running so late today? We haven't even gotten to the second episode yet. We got a lot to talk about MJ. Anyways, I agree though on the hand job. Like, if you're in a relationship, why wouldn't you just have sex versus a hand job? Like a dude can give himself a hand job. Anyway, so I agree with LaKendra on that one. A caller did call in and ask about Dr. Donna, basically saying that Jeff ambushed Dr. Donna live on the radio, and he didn't do that to MJ. Jeff very much explained it and agreed that he did ambush Dr. Donna, which I feel like he did too. Jeff did say he's going to bring Dr. Donna back. He didn't say anything about not following her on Instagram, though, which I think is interesting. Okay, so the second hour was Crystal Minkoff and Joey Zalzig. They were a good combo because Joey knows he gets teased and Crystal likes to tease. So I think they like that. The main thing I want to talk about this is the banner that I brought up about Jeff. He reads, like, when Rose is so excited about this banner, she's like, I'm famous, well, it's already been removed as of this morning. Gage emailed the head of school, got it removed. Jeff reads their whole long text exchange, which was very long. But I do, and in that is where Gage called his listeners the dipshit goons, which, I think he's going to end up using as merch, and I'm not opposed to that. I love the word dipshit. Goons, might as well. I think it's good. But I do agree. I mean, I'm always shocked that Jeff reads the text messages, because I think some of them are very brutal, and I would die if somebody that I decided to have a 10-year relationship with and bring a child into the world was saying this about me as a father, a co-parent of 8 years with her. I would be embarrassed. But Jeff reads texts from that. He reads texts from his dad that are very brutal. Crazy. Susan says, I would not come back if I was Dr. Donna. No way, mate. How long? Oh, Shanda says, how long was Dr. Donna his therapist? She might refuse. I mean, she was on with Jeff and Gage on Flipping Out. So I don't exactly know what season, and I don't know when she might have been his therapist before she came on Flipping Out, but she has been around a long time. She was at the season 1 Hollywood House premiere party, June of 2022, when I was there as one of his inner circles. I mean, that party was very intimate. You know what I mean? Anyways, what else? I do love that Joey's attorneys wanted to change some things about his ChumpCon agreement, and Jeff was like, no, I'm not doing this for one, I'm not switching all this around. He said it was a very easy, simple contract. It's probably like, come to this, stay for this, interact with fans, take pictures, don't refuse, don't be drunk. I mean, I'm sure it was very simple. And Joey's attorneys had some things they wanted to like redline, and he was like, no. I love it. Heather says, I relate to being a dipshit goon for sure. It's like a badge of honor. I'm not opposed to it at all. I put it in the Sarah from Texas Facebook group. I'm like, hey, dipshit goons. True. Lincoln the Golden says, does Jeff not care how this impacts his child? Gage is her dad too. I mean, I don't know. As much as Jeff says, I do think the lack of interaction that they have now that they do this 1 week on, 1 week off, I think they pick up from school. So they're not like remember, it used to be like he was dropping Monroe and picking her up from his apartment and Jeff was dropping her off at the house. They don't do that anymore. All their pickups and drop-offs, I think, are at the school. So they don't have to do anything together. It's one of them drops off for the day, and so there's no interaction, and the other one picks up. So there's no interaction. So I think that's really been good for them. But when they were having interactions, I don't understand how Jeff thinks that Monroe didn't pick up on the tension there. You know what I mean? Jen Helen says, I think Jeff loves that Gage sends those brutal texts. I think he figures if Gage acts badly, then it's fair game for Jeff. Well, and Gage actually said, I know you're going to read this text on the radio. You know what I mean? So, Jet says, nobody really cares what Hate thinks like he's just a late Gage thinks. Y'all got to type better. I try to read y'all's typing. I'm like, what? It's like y'all are voice texting. Nobody really cares what Gage, is that what you meant, thinks. He's just a lazy moocher living off Jeff's money and looking for drama. I highly disagree, because I don't think he can live off the money that he is given from that money. You know what I mean? Oh, wow. Southern Belle says, my friend had to pick up her child at the sheriff's office every time. That was a great idea. I have heard of like Target grocery stores, or like, somewhere general, like a parking lot being a pickup place or a drop-off place. But yeah. Okay. So then real quick, somebody calls in about MJ and basically says, look, why are you being so hard on MJ? And Jeff was like, well, nobody knows her personal life and her struggles, what she's going through. So I don't know. We've had probably a year of her alluding to her and Tommy having issues, but never really saying anything. She still does the podcast with them. They're still married, as far as we know. I don't know what personal life struggles he means. But he said, I think they're finally bleeding into her professional life. The issue he has is that still to this day, even though she sent 4 dozen roses and she sent and wrote a very nice card, she never admitted or apologized specifically about complaining about the ChumpCon money and the requirements that he was asking. And he said that is a huge issue for him. And that's why he stuck to his guns and the boundary of not including her at ChumpCon this year. I think even Crystal said, would you be open to an apology now? And he and Shane were both like, no, we've already come to terms. That's what she did. She wasn't going to admit it. She wasn't going to apologize. So we're just moving on, knowing, look, we've worked through it, but now the part is that she doesn't get to go to ChumpCon. What do you mean? Oh, Southern Belle says, I'm betting that MJ is embellishing lies to Jeff. Wow. Oh, I thought it was raining. I think it's the fan in here. Luna, what you doing? What you doing? It's like Luna knows it's after 4 o'clock and she's ready. She's like standing up, waiting at the door to go out. It's hilarious. She's usually like laying beside me. Well, N says Rich for Jeff to be the one setting boundaries. I don't know. He didn't go into any details at all. Sherry says personal life struggles equals money problems. I don't know. I still don't think that's a reason, even though you're dealing with stuff in your personal life, that's not a reason to lie and, complain about ChumpCon, like bleeding over into her professional life, whatever they said. You know what I mean? Okay, we're going to wrap it up. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and put them on YouTube. Deborah says, why wasn't Michael Beck taking Cynthia Bailey to Resorts World and the entire weekend was comp, but Jeff didn't get angry at Michael Beck? I asked the same thing. I'm like, this sounds very similar to when he said the final straw was when Jenny accepted the use of a condo for her honeymoon from who's it, the Sticks guy? What's that wife's name? Come here, baby girl. Come here, Luna. Luna. Nope, she's just gonna sit there and wait. I don't know. Very interesting. Very interesting. Lisa says, I'm sorry. I loved Jeff and MJ's past friendship. But even like he brought it up yesterday, because we know like 2 years. Yeah, Jeannie Shaw. Thank you. Artist Girl 9. We know like 2 years ago, MJ kept talking about, I want to take you out for dinner. I want to take you to whatever that restaurant with the fancy restaurant was for his birthday. And he never made time for her. And she kept saying, I want to go on a birthday. I want to take you out for a birthday. In other words, I want dinner with you one-on-one. And he hasn't made time for that. So now his birthday is coming up, and mine, March 24th, and Shannon Bedore's in a few weeks. And she reminded him, look, your birthday is coming up. He's like, look, I know. Don't spend money on my birthday. You already spent way too much money on Monroe for her birthday. Don't give me gifts. Don't whatever. Like gifts aren't my thing. Birthdays aren't my thing. Like, I know it's your thing, but don't come out of that. Yes. B. Kent says, Jeff explained that Michael Beck had a relationship with Resort World before ChumpCon. I just think it muddies the waters. Because right now his deal with Resort World is about ChumpCon. It's not his history with Southern hospitality. But also in that same line of thinking, say what you want, but in my opinion, Jenny Poulos had a relationship with Jeannie Shaw because, they worked together. So the fact that Jeannie offered this condo to her as a gift for their honeymoon, that's Jeannie offering it. Like, she just said yes to it. She offered it to her. You know what I mean? Jet says, what are you planning for your birthday? Probably nothing. I'm just not huge into my birthday. I'll probably go to dinner and have a couple of different dinners with different friend groups, but my birthday, it's so a non-issue to me. My birthday is so not a big deal. I mean, I had a big 40th birthday. My 50th was kind of during COVID a little bit. So just not a big deal, my birthday. Anyways, well, we are going to wrap it up tomorrow. I forget who's on. I feel like it's Judge Lauren Lake and Zach Noe Towers, and who else? I'm forgetting who it is. Oh, Artist Girl says, well, Tommy was also asked to sing for her wedding, and he never does that. Yeah. So what's his thing then? What's Jeff's thing? I don't know. Anyways. Okay, well, we will wrap it up, and I will see you tomorrow. Same place, same time. Thank you for joining. Make sure you're following me everywhere at Sarah from Texas Podcast, and I will see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern. Bye, Chumpettes, or what was the thing? Shit, what? I'm forgetting what it was. Oh my gosh, I wrote it down. Dipshit Goons.